Well, hello.
Well, hello, Resh. How you doing?
I'm amazing. And thank you for having us.
Of course, more than welcome.
And no matter how many times I come to this beautiful house, I have to say every time it takes my breath away. It is gorgeous.
Welcome. Thank
you. I have to say, Paresh, this is a very special day for me. I get to interview you, who happens to be my bestie for over 20 years, and we're talking about Sanju. So, the heartiest and warmest of welcome to Showbiz India.
Resh, come on, it's been very personal, and then, it's been a very long time, and I welcome this opportunity. It's because of you. I'm a pretty shy person for the most part, but
yes, for a big part. So It will be my pleasure to have the audiences get to know you, Parya, aka, as people know him, Kamli. So let's talk about where you were pretty much your first home in the United States. Yes, you have a gorgeous home here in Hollywood Hills, but let's talk about Chicago.
yes, I grew up in Chicago. We got there. Our family moved in Chicago when I was quite young. And from Ahmedabad hot weather directly to cold Chicago.
What an adjustment. How old were you?
11. It was quite freezing and quite shocking, to be honest with you. You come from, sort of an humble beginning in Ahmedabad, and here you are in Chicago, middle of snow, and then come in the winter.
So tell me about that journey.
Well, in the beginning, I come from just like many immigrants come. They pretty much have not much of an opportunity. Parents decide to say there's a much better opportunity for kids, at least, to migrate into United States. At least we were one of the lucky ones. My uncle was here. He was working at Air Force, and then he was gracious enough to, get us over here. And then opportunity, the parents decided to say, I think that's the best opportunity for kids to get educated and go, move on with the world that actually would allow many things you could do versus what we were. And they took the opportunity and we arrived. And humble beginning, absolutely. I mean, you're looking at, initially landing in uncle's house, stay there for a little bit, and then get yourself a one-bedroom apartment. There's about 6 of us, and that's how the life we've gone. Yeah, doing whatever it takes, labor jobs. Parents get out of their comfort and, go and do the labor jobs, and that's motivation. That was the motivation, yeah.
And so inspiring.
Yeah, seeing them like every other parents they go through for their kids, seeing them come out of their comfort zone and do whatever job it takes to go and give the kids an opportunity, So I was humbled by it, and then never forget that mom has to put casual pants on and trousers and stuff to go to work because saris are not allowed, and then her feeling is all, sort of, completely out of comfort, and give up their dignity per se, and then earn money in whatever you can, and just to support, and that's how it starts. But I told myself, this will be well worth it. I told my mom, I promised her, this will be worth it, and that was my motivation. That's how it started.
How beautiful, he said. And now for some of the glamorous stuff. You met Sanju while you were in Chicago.
Yes, on my teen years, yeah.
Not from a filmy background at all. And I know the movie, of course, there is a fallacy. Of course, you're the main character, Kamli, but there's a couple of friends also involved that make the
correct, yes,
make the character. So was that true that you first met Sanju at the hospital?
I actually met. No, that was another friend. The incident is real, but that is another friend actually. So you're correct. There are a couple of incidents that actually you see, it's an amalgamation of a couple of friends, but largely, Sanjay and I had a great, journey. So that's kind of captured pretty well.
Yeah, and then you continue to have that journey. So tell me, when did you first meet Sanju? Where?
I met Sanju through a common friend, and we just met and just got along really, really well. I met him very briefly initially. I didn't think he would remember, obviously, him being such a star, and I was doing my life, and I had my great DJ, long hair, sports car life happening in America. And I wasn't really that much touch, what was happening in the back, obviously, but who doesn't know Sanjay Dutt at that point? And obviously the family comes from very highly respected. At that point, when he was visiting New York, and asked me, goes, hey, dude, I think, let's meet up type. And we met, and first thing, goes, all right, we're gonna go somewhere. Do you have a jacket? And I said, no, I don't. And he goes, I'm a teen, I'm like young, and I don't carry blazers. He goes, where we're going, we need a jacket. And he goes, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out. And then he figured it out. And then that's when we actually ended up going to a strip club, which was pretty shocking for me, obviously. and that's how our life began.
Is there a part of Sanju that you know, obviously, that's not depicted in the film, but an incident that you wish was in the film and you can tell us about it?
Oh, there are many. My God, what they captured is our life, or in his life totality, it's probably about 25% has been captured, in my opinion.
So tell me an incident that's hilarious and you can share with us that's not in the film.
There's so many. He's a big prankster. You spend time, as you also know, you're part of our journey, that you've seen us in action in New York and areas we used to hang out and stuff. There are so many incidents that it's absolutely hilarious. The guy is, when I actually saw Munna by first, when the very first time when they were actually about to release, and I looked at it, I'm like, my God, this man has not acted in the film at all. It's exactly what I see him every day. Every gesture, his demeanor, the way he talks about it, the way he laughs, the way he jokes, is absolutely the way it is. So there are many incidents. The guy has a very colorful life, and our journey's been pretty colorful.
Yes, I know. And by the way, the first time I ever met Pariya was with Sanjay. And that's how our friendship started.
Absolutely. You had the little precious Tush I was babysitting and we were going out. Yeah, I remember very well.
Imagine? They don't talk about so much in the film, and it's fun. And you were just telling me off camera that you were about to go on a safari with Sanju again. I know those are some fun stories you have there.
Those are amazing. I think we love nature life. Nature is something, it's also very peaceful. Go away from the world and just spend time. So we spend away from the hustle or bustle or whatever it is you call, go away and camp out there, nature and outdoor. We just love out there, So we literally go in the wild in a safari where there's hardly any lights or there's no electricity, there's no running water, no nothing, and we just go out there and rough it out. Well, it's absolutely amazing, just to be there, the peace that you get, the sleep you get, the conversations, we bond over it. So that's one of our favorite times, probably.
So is there any particular incident that's scary that you can remember right now?
There are many, among the many, but one particular route, it kind of always comes back at obviously it was very scary then, and I'm like, it was beautiful at the same time, but something that you would never experience in a wildest imagination. We were actually called it a night. We're in the tent. It's probably about, say, 9, 10 o'clock maybe. By 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in Africa, it's pretty much done. Zip it in. Once you zip in, you really don't zip out. Like, really, you don't want to go out. That's their world. Cats are extremely active at night. And so we had a good night, tiring night all day. And so we usually end up sharing a tent, right? And there's a little bit, one single bed type here, there's space in the middle, and then there's camp. And it was a summertime. So
and it's just you and him?
Just me and him. We camped it, zipped in, and then he's sleeping, and then Sanjay, when he goes to sleep at times, he goes to deep sleep, and he's, he can snore at times. So when he was, and then the moon was out, probably wasn't full moon, probably right around the full moon, so I can see, and then we kind of keep the flap open just to, get the, airflow coming. It was quite hot, and I see, like I was in sleep a while, and I kind of felt something, and I kind of opened my eye, and I see it. There's a lion walking in. Coming towards, slowly, it's curious now, what is this? Because this tent wasn't around type. And comes so damn close, right? So he's coming close and he's wondering what's happening, where the noise is coming from and stuff. Obviously he can see us and we can't really see as much what he's doing, right? And it was a male lion, must be on a patrol or whatever. And he comes so close, like Sanjay's sleeping here and he's like right here breathing, and he's still fast asleep, and I'm sleeping this way looking at it like what's happening. And then you a little bit have some sort of well trained that you don't make your sudden moves, you do nothing, just lay there with that. And then as he comes, and then I'm kind of wondering what the heck he's gonna do. Now there's nothing you could do. It's something whatever lion decides to, the king. And comes around, I knew he's gonna go around and probably come on my side because he's seen me sleep as well, figure out what's happening. So he goes around, then you have a window here, and then there's some blind spot, a window, and there's a front side, it's all blank. So he goes around. When he got to that blind spot, that's the only time I know I should make any move I want. And so we had a rifle, but there's nothing you could do at this point. So I got my hand on it, thinking, let me just slightly shift to see exactly what he's doing if I need to make any sudden move, nothing's really could do. I found myself completely paralyzed. I could not move. Like, I understood the word called, you're paralyzed.
With fear.
Temporary fear. It was so, like, right there close. I would never forget. And then he decides to just sit there, right by the tent, and now he's not moving. And the noise comes, and 10 minutes later, Sanjay must have woken up, and he grabs my hand. And that's our sign. You don't make a sudden move, grabs a distance, and he grabs, and he's kind of sign tells me, goes, be careful, alert, there's something out there. And he's telling me he's lying. And I'm like, dude, man, I'm like, yeah, I've been here for a while.
A little late to the party.
So about an hour or so later, I guess he moved on, and then this was probably the most scariest moment.
Oh my God, I can just imagine.
Yeah.
So who got whom into the safari? You got him into the safari scene, or vice versa?
No, I think Sanjay, he's an outdoor person since a child. He just loves outdoor, going on the jungles and stuff, and he got me into, I loved outdoors myself. I used to camp when I was young as well. Tenting and camping was something that I always loved, enjoyed. He's the one who said, Africa is the ultimate camping. We got to go out and live in the animals and see. And he got me into the camping. Let's go to Africa, the most ultimate place to go. And these are the places we go. There's no human civilization ever. He literally goes out there. And then the only man I know who would be able to do it and thinks that big, right? At least from people that I know of. He said, all right, I think we should just go out there and actually get a whole concession, like maybe 20, 30,000 square miles area, and we just camp out there. There's no human, lives around. There's no civilization. It's all kind of reserve, kind of forest reserve type, and you just live out there. These are it's not allowed. There's no permanent tents allowed. There's nothing permanent. It has to be temporary. It has to be taken out in the season stuff. So there's really nothing out there but the wildlife, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And then we've done this in India as well, that you go out, far, far away. So he's actually very much experienced in outdoor living.
So this beautiful home in Hollywood Hills, you've had it for how long now?
About 7 years now.
Time just flies. I still remember coming in and seeing the beauty and taking my breath away. And like I said earlier, every time I come to this house, the sunset's different. It's so beautiful. There's a lot of blessings here. Of course, you also have a lot of guests and a lot of celebrity guests here as well that come and stay with you, you're friends with. But also, the previous owner of this home was a Beatle. Yes, he was part of the Beatles, George Harrison, who wrote down the song Blue Jay Way. We won't give away the address, but Blue Jay Way, because of this, how does that make you feel?
It makes wonderful. I think that was the energy when I walked in. And I believe in life in a more of energy, the universal energy, the manifesting life and stuff. So I really have sort of, my life is almost manifested. What I thought my life would be when I grow up too. And it's not a particular way, but I used to ask my dad, hey, why does all gods live on the mountains? My dad's like, well, I don't have an answer, but he goes, well, I don't know, son, must be the clean air or the close to the heaven. But all gods, most of our gods actually, live in the mountains. Since then I've been like, when I actually get to a point where I want to live on the mountains, and here I am, literally living in mountains, enjoying this entire thing, and it's all about really manifesting for me how the life came about. And I walked into this place, and the energy was just amazing. I felt something.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't about because of George Harrison's home, but you felt it, and I felt it, and I kind of captured it. I said, this is where I want to be. And I made it my own. And my friends come over, it makes it even more warmer home, and I love having people over. So. And
if you're lucky enough, which I am, to get to go to one of his parties, he's one of the bestest hostess ever.
Well, thanks, Resh. It means a lot, because I actually, since growing up, I've always enjoyed people over, and I've enjoyed company. Anything you have, I think the sharing makes it more pleasurable.
So what does Pariya do for work?
I wonder at times, what do I do for work? Because I really don't my work is really, I love what I do. Everything that I've done something that I loved. Spectacular failures to spectacular successes. I make it my own. So I always have fun with it. I have fun failing it, I have fun doing it, I have fun in between. So for me, work is really something that you do what you want to pursue. Obviously, at times you work because you have to work, which I've done in my past life, right? But when I got an opportunity to pursue something that I want to do, there's always something that technology related. I'm drawn to technology. So something that I really get drawn to, like, how can I make this more efficient? So I get involved in more of a techie sort of thing. So I had, some, failures, but some great success as well. But what I do currently is something that I really am looking forward to. My next phase is more of a, do something, use all the technologies, and then see what you can do with make an impact. So currently my journey drives me to how do I actually take the water and take the salt out of seawater and make it more available to the farmers and drinkable, at the tenth of a cost of current desalination. Because the way desalination, everybody can afford it. Farmers are, all coast areas getting completely, poor just because they can't farm anymore. They can't irrigate as much. So things that sort. So I like to do things that actually is more impactful now. In my past life, technology has been my forte.
Yeah, and you were also talking to me about X Prize, which is something you do philanthropically. Tell us about that.
Wow, it's one of my favorite things. X Prize is an amazing foundation, amazing group of people got together and say, one particular man got together, a vision to say, hey, if we actually challenge the world to say, what can we do to make the world a better place? And within that, we have a lot of challenges and grand challenges. Can we address those? Can we find a breakthrough to, and then hopefully that will actually lead to some sort of a betterment of humanity. And then, I got involved because, as growing up as a child, I always wanted to do something big. And my first spectacular failure, I keep repeating, is because it goes back to when I built an electric scooters and rickshaws in '95. This is when, I was visiting India and when Sanju was in jail. I just really thought the pollution was just, crazy, and it kind of led me to a journey of building electric scooter and then rickshaw. I spent about a year, studied the market, made all the Kirana shops and ISD booth and STD booth as a charging stations, built 2 prototypes of rickshaw and scooter, but there was no taker. There was nobody really thought of electric scooter then.
You're so ahead of your times.
Well, I think so at some point. The world wasn't ready. It's not about India only. The world wasn't ready to adopt that. For me it was saddening because I think I had a great idea, could have impacted the environment as far as the health of people, kids growing up in India and stuff with the pollution. But that kind of led me to say, I didn't fail because it was a bad idea. I failed because I didn't know how to execute or actually didn't have any resources or navigation skills or whatnot. And a lot of young folks don't have it. So that's when I had decided, when I actually have resources, I'm going to extend those resources and make the platform where somewhat crazy people like me, kids like me, can actually just, be dared about going and do some audacious thing. Audacity have to think about I can change the world, and I think they can. If you heard of Virgin Galactic that goes to the spaceship, well, I'm one of the second flight passenger, hopefully, if it takes off. But that was another initiative of X Prize. So we do environment, we do health, we do and anything, women's safety, we do adult literacy, education, things of that sort. So, I'm very proud to be part of it. I love it.
Absolutely. So this is the real Pariya behind Kamli, guys, who's not only very, very smart, as you can tell, is a philanthropist and is a daredevil, is a great friend. I can attest to that. He's been a dear friend and always been there. But there's a naughty side to him too, which we're going to talk about. Well, now I get to be a little naughty with you. Everyone wants to know, of course, and certain people at my office also want to know, I won't name them, is how come you've never dated a Bollywood actress?
Not dated. Well, I may actually have. Who knows?
Maybe you have, is what I was going to say, huh?
Yeah, not to name anyone, but I have met some wonderful people, within the Bollywood as well as, outside of Bollywood. Yeah, so, yeah, there was somebody that I dated, from the industry, but wonderful, wonderful person. And then...
Life just didn't work out. But you're still friends.
We're doing great friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good friends.
And that's what life is about. Okay, now the $1 million question. I'm sure you get it all the time, and your parents ask you. And I actually don't ask you that, but I'll ask you today. How come you're still single?
Yeah, so I'm not against the marriage, Reshma. It's really about, being with somebody, actually, make sure that actually it's a great union, right? Making 1 + 1 more than 2. If you actually can meet somebody who actually enhances your life and you enhance their life and make them a better person or actually more funner or whatnot, and add each other and then uplift each other. I think that's when the marriage is all about. For me, it's straight up. I'm not against a marriage, but when you actually feel that, that's when perhaps could lead. Have I met somebody like that? Yes, I have. Sometimes things don't work out for various reasons. Your priorities are different, whatnot, and stuff. But I think I would say I'm not against marriage, but hopefully, who knows?
Yes,
We'll never know.
there's a beautiful woman out there.
But till
with
that
you.
happens, I think, we live our lives.
Yes, you live your life for sure,
I must
and
do.
as you should.
And we must.
In conclusion, a little bit philosophical question: what are perhaps 3 moments in your life that have been life-changing or profound?
I definitely think the day when we moved here, and then really seeing your father, like whatever the hard work they've done, just unfold, uproot themselves, and just say, hey, we gotta go. And they're in their 40s, and then Trump will come up and then just leave everything behind, not knowing the language, not knowing the culture, never been on the plane, never know anything, and just like go in a strange world to say, why for your kids? That was something to me was amazing. When I know that he was, although we didn't have that much means to do, but he never made us feel like any less than actually we were doing well. We had to bring an apple at home just to make us feel that we're pretty okay to do. But to uplift all of it and come here, for me, that was a profound moment to say, my God, if somebody can do that, and whatever odd reason, I've been always kind of captured a lot of our surroundings, and that kind of stays with me. Second was when my mom, because the family was going through it, in a sense that they all wanted to support and pitch into, live a better life type. So she felt like she needs to go to work, and she's a very traditional lady, and grew up from village, but from Ahmedabad, very Indian culture type, and then needs to get out of sari and then put the trouser on, like mentioned, to actually go in and do the labor job she can. That for me was like, if these people actually the parents can actually do so much for you, and that would it. And another one probably I would say that when after many attempts and a lot of tries to do business and stuff, I actually was successful to actually tell my father and say, listen, Dad, I think I did okay. And I bought them a house. And then I think that probably was my proudest moment to say, we don't need to live in the small homes. I think probably the most profound moment in my life.
Oh, I wish you so much more success. You deserve it. Give me a hug. Thank you for being on Showbiz India.
Thanks, Ray. It's always a pleasure. You're my bestie, you know that.
Yeah.